Truly, as we do lean in to that next holiday, it's actually a good excuse to get some things done at home. Maybe give yourself a deadline like Thanksgiving. That might be the only way the guest room is going to get redone. Here we are at the top of home improvement season, and as you consider your next project, my first guest says you really ought to consider color. Interior designer Stacey Slaney is here to help us get the house ready for the guests that will come. It's great to see you. Great to have you.
It's good to be here.
Can I quote you?
Yes.
I'm going to pull straight from your word book. You say, quote, "We should be more brave and bold in our color choices," and double quote, "Utah struggles with this."
Yes, Utah struggles.
Explain why.
Yes, yes. Okay, so first of all, I just want to point out that we've had a couple of rough years where we've spent home, you know, we've been home a lot, and we've kind of just looked around and reflected on ways that we want to change our home.
We've stared at those walls thinking, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, there has been so many changes, but across the country, people are going more bold and more maximalist and really going to the extremes and bringing color in and whatnot. But here in Utah, we tend to be a little bit behind the trend, and we're a little bit more intimidated and nervous about making those big, bold color choices.
But it's not even just being tired of what we have. Where it was going pre-pandemic was very neutral, very stark, very white.
Grays and whites.
We're tired of that?
Yes, we are tired of that. We need to bring more joy and playfulness into our homes.
And when we say Utah behind the trends, I think of Utah as being I'm going to say colorful state. I don't know if
in nature-wise, yeah, for
sure. we celebrate color, and I think that we leaned into that brown trend a couple of years ago in the interior design world.
Okay, so the brown trend really got real heavy about 20 years ago. Early 2000s, I was working for a major home builder in Utah, and it was super frustrating for me because everything was brown. Okay. On every surface, you know,
is
walls,
brown a color?
carpets,
because
countertops,
we got into
everything.
that.
We did get into that, and then we were so over that we went into our grays. Okay. Right? And we were gray and white for so long, which felt really sterile.
Like the pendulum swung too far.
Yes, yes. And now we're slowly starting to embrace bringing those bold, dramatic colors back into our home.
Okay, so we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
Slowly.
We're focusing our energy today, our conversation on the guest room. Why is that a good space to bring in this color?
Okay, because think about going on a vacation, you know, a highly anticipated vacation you spent lots of money on. You walk into the hotel room, and it's just drab and boring. It doesn't excite you. It doesn't bring any good into your vacation. It's not something that you remember, right? So a good example of this is you can go online and look at Airbnbs. Okay. You know, and the most successful, sought after Airbnbs are the ones that are very whimsical, colorful, bold in their design choices. An escape. And it's an escape. Yeah. And what they're doing is these hosts, they're very smart, and they know, and they're attracting people to come to these spaces just because it'll be so memorable and so fun.
How would we start, Stacey? Let's say we're leaning into this advice. We're saying, yes, my house could afford some more color. My guest room in particular, a good place to start. Yeah. Where do you suggest people begin?
So if you are a little bit intimidated by color, which a lot of people are, even a lot of my clients that I work with on a day-to-day basis, I try to have to convince them to go with color. Yeah. You can start by just an art piece, you know, something simple like just an art piece. Find some accent pillows that go well with that, and then live with that for a while, and notice how that elevates your room and how much more fun it makes your space. And then you can move on to your colorful furniture pieces or painted cabinets. And eventually you might find yourself going into those really dramatic, moody rooms. But hopefully you don't wait until the whole world is doing it before you take the color plunge, you know?
Yeah, and do what you love, right? It comes down to how color makes you feel, which is, I think, drives, I mean, we can talk about trends all day long, but unless you love it, and unless it becomes an extension of who you are, then it's never going to stick.
Don't choose a color that you hate, for sure. No.
You recommend mid-tone paints.
Yeah, so mid-tone paints are good for when you don't have a lot of natural light.
What is that?
So mid-tone is not super light, and it's not dramatically dark, so it works really well when you don't have a lot of natural light in the space, but it still creates a moody environment, a moody feeling. If you do have a lot of natural light, then that's a great opportunity to bring in that dramatic, moody feeling because the light reflects beautifully on those dark walls.
So, for example, the powder bath, you say, is one exception to the mid-tone paint rule.
Yes, for sure an exception. Those spaces are already small. We're not trying to make them bigger play it up, make it really dramatic and use a lot of different design elements to make it just different than the rest of the house.
And do we want contrasting trims? I've noticed that we're kind of going floor to ceiling with the color.
Everything is the same
So we don't have the white baseboards.
Nope, no white baseboards,
That
especially in
feels
the
fun.
super dramatic rooms.
Yeah.
If that bothers you and you're a little hesitant about that, you can go a little bit lighter on your ceiling.
So even the ceiling could be a color. You could go jewel box
absolutely.
effect.
Yeah, a lot of people are painting the whole thing, everything, even their cabinets one color.
See, I think that's fun.
Yeah,
I think that's fun.
It's fun.
All right, knowing the effect of colors can help point us in the right direction, like the color effects.
Yes. So there have been so many studies show how colors affect us in every aspect of our lives.
Like red makes us hungry.
Right, yeah, right. So the perfect example of that is blue. So blue is the most highly favored color in the world. And the reason why is because it reminds us of all the good things, the deep, clear lake, the clear skies, the mountains, all of those things. So it brings calm into our space.
Yeah.
Studies show that people are more calm in a blue room, but also on the flip side, people are more productive in a blue room.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And so another example of that and how a color affects a space is green. Green is very tranquil. It's very healing,
soothing,
and therapeutic. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you'll notice some hospitals have a lot of green in them.
Oh.
And one thing that's interesting too is if you notice next time you go in for surgery, if you notice what your surgeon is wearing, they will always be wearing green or blue.
That calming effect.
And there's a reason for that.
All right, we've got about a minute left. Let me throw out some hot color trends right now and just give us a quick line or two from your designer's perspective on if you like these or not. Terracotta is having a huge moment right now.
Terracotta is having a huge moment, and every year all the different paint brands predict their color of the year, and there's so many different ones, but most of them are the terracottas, the blushes, the pinks, the really organic, warm undertone colors like that. They're so fun and they pair so well with so many different colors.
Good for what room? Like a living room?
Any room.
Okay.
Bedrooms are great. Bathrooms are great.
Okay.
You can even put them some here and there. An accent of a terracotta wall in a living room would be beautiful.
Rich greens are having a moment.
Yes, rich greens are always having a moment. They really are. I mean, you look back into history and they're
dramatic.
They're everywhere.
Yes.
And they remind us once again of nature. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Reds are making their way back?
Yes, if they have warm undertones. Just if they have warm undertones. Don't think the red, maddening red wall that we saw everywhere in the early 2000s.
Softer.
Yeah, the accent wall. It's softer, and then it also pairs really well with woods and stones and natural elements like that.
Are we ready for brown again?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are, in moderation.
Okay.
Yeah, it pairs very, very well with all of these other organic warm tones.
And then what's a color that won't date?
A color that won't date, once again, greens and blues hardly ever date. But there's different tones, but greens and blues, just because of how they make us feel in nature, will always be a thing.
I love color, and I love that you're giving us permission to go for it.
Please do.
Okay,
Please do.
Stacey, thank you. How can we get in touch with you?
Okay, so I have my own design firm, and it's Manifold Interior Design. And also, the best way is just to find me on Instagram, and it's I Make It Pretty.
Because you do.
Yep.
Thank you so much for helping us do the same.
Thank you.
We'll link you over to her website and Instagram from our website as well, studio5.ksl.com.